What's up, spectators? Welcome back to another episode of Ace Attorney, the Great Ace Attorney. So we are still investigating the murder of Dr. Wilson. At the very end of the last video, we re-examined some evidence showing that the doctor had actually seen the dentist. So with the molar removed, it was expressly written that he should not consume anything for the first 3 hours after the appointment. So with that, we now know which statement we have to press against. It should be about him eating? Dining all by himself? No. Okay, hold on. Let's review it again. Well done, Ryunosuke. We've even more to go on now. I still don't feel like the situation's really changed, though. No discrepancies have come to light, and that's what we need. I think the situation's changed a great deal. We've come a long way. How so? Because we've just what we need. It's simply a case of using it to our advantage now. Then do you mean there is a discrepancy? The crucial point is the victim had been prohibited from consuming anything but water when he was shot. That fact has not yet been brought to the court's attention. He's right. Thinking about Dr. Wilson's circumstances at the time of the incident puts that particular statement in a totally different light. Always keep your eye on the progress of the battle. That's the only sure way to win. Still didn't know where I'm supposed to present this statement. It's gotta be this one. Alone, dining all by himself. This is the one. Right bumper. We'll present the medical record. Present.
Yes!
Well, I think, about what are you wittering, lad? Wittering. I love it when I repeat myself like that. It sounds like Alex Trebek repeating the answer to a question that no one got right. And the correct answer is wittering. Wittering. Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. Bro, I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. All right? And thanks for the advice. Kurakuta, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. I see, and I don't see. What of it? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement. Something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection!
Dear me, dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? What? You're not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that's, remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency. Your Excellency. I believe we're finished here. There's surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. The medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could have possibly perpetrated whatever he was going to say. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hada Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. Is that supposed to mean something? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating. I mean, to be fair, he could have broken the rules. He might have been very hungry. Just what are you trying to say? He had orders not to eat? So what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. No, that can't. Korakuta. What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more? You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner.
Objection!
What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in the restaurant case have turntables. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat, which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been me! It was my steak, idiots! An as yet unknown third party. Obviously, can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes!
There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witnesses' testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel, I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing and sentenced to death. I mean, I feel like this is really intimidating the witness, and the judge is like, I'll allow it. Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they, told us. Oh. What did you just say, Korakundis? Oh, no. You were just following orders. Now, hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas?
Objection!
What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is lying even possible? Is this true? Just one. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order! Counsel, explain what's going on here. It's painfully clear now you're trying to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, that's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Aochi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, Kazuma's very anti-establishment. Any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it really was did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before. We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. I had no idea about any of this, I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? No time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... I mean, I want to say this guy, but let's give it a second here. After all, we have quite a few people. Let's see. The only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... I mean, he's a professor, though, but obviously he's the only choice we have that's reasonable. Makes no sense if it's Wilson. Or does it? No. Then he would have known he would be dead. The head waiter makes no sense. These two are the witnesses, therefore it is Eugene Mikotoba.
Yes!
What do you make of... I think we got it wrong. I think, counsel, that you may want to close your ears as well as your eyes. Otherwise, the size of disappointment in the courtroom may very well deafen you. Ah. If you feel you must close your eyes in a crisis, might I suggest you keep your mouth shut next time? Otherwise, I may have to use the influence I have in this courtroom to shut it. I don't know what it is about that prosecutor exactly, but he really makes me wince in pain sometimes. I don't have a great deal of influence myself, but believe me. And yes, I know, wince in pain. Yes, yes, yes. Job, very good. I can find other ways to make you keep your mouth shut as well. All right, don't get angry. I'll think again. There must be a clue somewhere in all that evidence in the court record. Actually, now that I think about it... Oh, gosh darn it, I know exactly what I have to do. So on the back of the business card is the layout of the restaurant. All I have to do is flip it upside down to see the actual proper title of what I assume is the head waiter. That's got to be what it is. Yes, yes. What does the defense have to say about all this? Okay. Court record. Court record. Examine this. A. Flipperoo. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Well, well, well. That's unexpected. What is? Do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. Chief Inspector. Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here... No time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout the first name. Second name. Bop, bop, bop.
Yes!
Surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga, the waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Poppycock. What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter. If he truly were. Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga's real identity as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure where we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon. Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. But that's surely... Good gracious. That's right. The card reads, Chief Inspector, etc. The waiter is a police detective. I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record. Oh, well. Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Of course, your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. No, surely you're just poor. There have been a series of Take two. There have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant. What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it'd be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect. Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman. You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett? She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem. Nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student, Giselle Brett, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency! Good. Then we'll have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. It's too early to end the video. It's only been 27 minutes. We'll throw in at least another 5 to 10 minutes. Save my current progress. Same day. Almost noon. Court. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. So handsome and amazing. Drenched in sweat. Absolutely, yes. Your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. Except for the fact that you accused me for some reason of being the culprit. I'll forgive that for now. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so, which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at Yume. And it was I who invited him. I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor for Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government's looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma. Defended Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before those old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma. What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really gonna give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. You know, they're setting him up to be such a cool and friendly guy, yet we know, well, we can guess that we are the ones who go to Britain, so I have a horrible gut feeling that they're gonna kill him off. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You could treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Same day. Lunchtime. Court. 2. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Now, since we're probably going to go into whole brand new witness testimony, possibly with 3 witnesses all at once, why don't we save that for the video for next time, because it's been about 35 minutes. So stay tuned until then. Please have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, Sunday afternoon. Bye-bye!